Bianca Studios presents Black Love Baltimore, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy this teaser. Season 1, Episode 6. I have Mr. Tyrone and Mrs. Virginia Wilkins here sharing their love story. For right now, you're going to have to enjoy this teaser. But Friday, July 17th, 8 p.m., you can enjoy the full love story. Now, before we get into this show, I had to give a disclaimer and an apology. I want to sincerely apologize for the smoke detector noise you may hear throughout this episode. This is not just a battery issue, so stop saying, girl, change that battery. There is an electrical issue that I am working on with this smoke detector. I also want to apologize for any outside noise you may hear. This show is filmed in my studio, which is located in the Park Heights community, so you already know. Bianca Studios is working hard to perfect this craft of producing good quality shows. So bear with me as we get into this teaser clip from episode 6. All right, enjoy. How would you say Black love in our community helped you as a young person grow into who you are today and into the relationships that you guys have today?
You got it now?
I can.
Okay, go ahead.
It didn't. So what I learned, but I didn't know this until, so this is very interesting I'm saying this, right?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't learn this until I got older. So at the time, when I was experiencing Black love throughout the space, I had only one way of looking at it. I had examples, but it wasn't until I married you and really went through the process of love that I realized the true dynamics of it. Because in reality, sure, people on television, Claire Huxtable, Cliff, all of them, you see all these, Uncle Phil this, when you got your parents, you got your grandparents, you see all these things. But you start realizing, as I got older and started realizing and started seeing my family and those people as humans, and you start hearing them, nothing, I didn't learn anything. What I learned was that everybody was running from their problems. That's what I learned, and it wasn't intentional. It's just that's the way they dealt with it. Like as I had said before, I had told you before, my parents, they never really argued in front of me, right? And at the time when I was younger, I was always like, oh, this is great. But when I got older and realized I had no conflict resolution skills inside of a relationship, because I never was afforded the opportunity to see it. That's not saying I wanted my parents to argue. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that, like, when I really think about it as a whole, I didn't learn as much as I thought I did. It's probably the best way for me to frame that.
Okay.
It's like everything that I thought I was learning got flipped upside down. So when I look back on it, I really started from scratch when I met you. Like, there was no, I had previous relationships, and when I reflect on them now, I know where I went wrong, even though, for years I victim blamed and said this is where this person went wrong. But no, where I went wrong is where I went right with you.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, I put in the work, I built on it. You know what? I will say this, and let me backtrack my previous statement. I think I learned from my parents' communication. Regardless, they communicated with each other on a regular basis, and I'm not mad at that. There's certain things I didn't learn, but it's because either they weren't aware. I've learned that, especially being a dad, that people do the best they can. That's it. That's all you get. So all in all, I'll stand on my square with that. I don't think I really learned as much as I thought I did about Black love growing up that was actually usable.
Is it safe to say, though, that you learned things that you shouldn't do?
I can say that. I can say that I learned what not to do in certain situations. I feel like growing up in the 90s, late 80s, early 90s, and 2000s, the Black community, our community was filled with a lot of like, when you ever reflect on a lot of like the movies and stuff we used to watch.
Absolutely.
Back in the day, and you look at it now, you like, what y'all was doing? What y'all on?
Absolutely.
Like it was a lot of trauma induced things.
Yeah.
It was a lot of traumatic situations in our community. And
a lot of line stepping.
A lot of things, you know. It's a lot of things. The reason I say I didn't learn anything is because it's a lot of things I had to unlearn. So, okay, I learned things, but they weren't things that were conducive to my growth. So I had to unlearn them and then learn how to be me. I'm 40, learning how to be me and not who other people want me to be now.
And that was the next question. What did you have to unlearn? He just put it in there. Yes, that's true, though.
I had to unlearn yelling don't mean I love you.
Oh, God, yeah.
Screaming, fighting, none of that. None of that means any of that. I had to unlearn that mistakes were a death sentence. I had to unlearn that I can't talk to my spouse I can't be 50-50 with my spouse. And the funny part about when people think about 50-50, they're only thinking about finances. I'm thinking about the fact that we go 50-50 from a space of balancing ourselves together so that there's rhythm and stuff in the house. It's not a traditional gender role thing. It's just a masculine and feminine energy thing. And we have found our rhythm and balance in that over the course of the last couple of years. I had to unlearn that something you said earlier, that I don't have to have it all together and I don't have to carry everything and I don't have to not show my emotion. I had to learn all of that. I had to learn that women weren't objects. I had to learn that there's no rule, you know, I had to learn that that my parents did the best they can, because when I was raising my son, I'm doing the best I can. I don't always think I'm the greatest dad. But there's no book. There's only life experience. I can only do but so much. I can only do what's in my wheelhouse. And if it's not my wheelhouse, I can't do anything. My mom had told me, we was having a conversation, and she was like, I wish I had taught you more about finance. But I realized, like, you ain't know. Sure, I do too. But if you don't know, you don't know. So like, as I grow and I learn things, I try to teach my son so he can start at 18 and not 40.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So, but I don't want to take too much time. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
She kind of rolled into the second question.
I'm sorry, it's because you like rolled into it, so I had to roll with you.
No, y'all, that was great. Okay. I think what black love and community taught me is to never take any opportunity for granted. I can agree with my parents never had it all together. And it wasn't until I got older that I've realized that a lot of things that my parents went through, why they went through the things they went through, what could I take from that to apply to my marriage and what I got going on now. But it just applied to me. I feel like therapy, and a lot of people kind of had this negative connotation about it or whatever, but I feel like, respectfully, a lot of times therapy could have saved a lot of people. Mm-hmm. Or just a listening ear could have saved a lot of people, because they were able to work through those things in a moment, and be able to figure out a solution, even if it wasn't something that could be fixed overnight or within a few months or a few weeks, but just being able to have that outlet to get it out and do whatever and then move on, would have saved a lot of marriages, would have saved a lot of trauma, childhood trauma, for people, generational things of that nature. What I will say is, but going back to the opportunities thing, what I will say is that we came from opposite sides of the spectrum. I'm a West Baltimore girly. I grew up in White Lot, and so I dealt with a lot. But I also remember the biggest thing about Black love and community is community. I walked to school with my whole neighborhood. squad. Like we started from, I used to live on Callow Avenue, and we start from Callow, from the top of the street to the bottom. We walked through the apartments. I can't even tell you what they were supposed to be called, but we called them Murder Mall. But we walked through the apartments. We walked through the apartments together. When Head Start was open, we walked through Head Start. We crossed the street in North Avenue, and we all went to school together at the same time. We got out of school at the same time. We would all walk home together, and it would just be like a line. It was kind of like, you know, when you go and do drop-offs, when you go pick your kids up, and you know how to get the parents. It was the same thing with the kids. Everybody watched. They watched each other's children. We had a lady who lived on our street that watched us when I wasn't there, but it was still tons of aunts and aunties and uncles and whatever else that if I was out too long, where you going? You know you're not supposed to be out here. My grandmother worked a block and a half away at Total Healthcare. So if my mom wasn't home, my daddy wasn't home, sometimes I would just walk around there and go be nosy and see what she doing. But yeah, the biggest thing about Black Love and community is that community. I could go across the street, shout out to Miss Cookie, and I could go over there and get something to eat, or I could go over there and just be in her face and not have a problem. And so my biggest thing with Black Love and community is just that community. The biggest thing that was a detriment to our city and a detriment to our community is when they shut down all the PAL centers. I was in middle school when that happened, and I felt like the minute that they shut down all those PAL centers in Yo Baltimore and all of those types of community organizations, when they were underfunded and diminished, when a certain someone was in office, that is when a lot of the dismemberment and the high crime and all that stuff started happening because children didn't have nothing to do. Mm-hmm. They didn't have nowhere to go. They didn't have the Miss Cookies where you could go over here and play basketball free and clear, no problem. They didn't have no breaks where you go to the computer lab and be in here all hours of the night until the rec center closed. They didn't have places where you could go and just be. And so because they didn't have that, I'm going to go find something else to do. And of course, it might just be, I'm going to go rob somebody. And so my biggest thing is in love and having the love for not just each other, but for those around you. I felt like that camaraderie, that unity, that community that we used to have, we don't have anymore. And so I kind of got off on a tangent, but yeah, that's my biggest thing that I was taught is that Black love in community is about community. Being there for the next person. I remember when my grandmother passed, so many people brought over food. I just remember opening the door and it was just trees after trees after trees after trees after trees of food. They like, we know you got your kids. I know y'all don't want to think about that. I brought you over this. I brought you over that. I brought over some toys for the kids. I brought over this and that. And it's just like, damn, y'all really care. Like, our crossing guard at the time, she was also a parent of the kids in the neighborhood. And when she passed, some of us was outside just because there wasn't enough room. Because this lady who has been out crossing guard, and I was out of school for years when she wasn't crossing me across the street. But when she passed away, I made sure I took my ass down there and paid my respects, because at this point, she wasn't just a crossing guard, she was family. And so I feel like in Black love, that's in community, family. That's 100%. You don't have to necessarily be blood, but in community, that's really all it is. Seeing the same person, sharing the space, being black and being black together, and just being together. That's just really what that is for me.
That's so funny. And listening to your you explain that, it changes how I feel about the question, but it doesn't change my answer.
Yeah.
Because even when I look at my experiences with Black love and friendships and things of that nature, I would say it taught me a lot, but it's actually pretty traumatic.
Yeah.
I never realized until you said that, like, my experiences with love and other people has been very traumatic.
Thank you, Tyrone and Virginia, for answering this question authentically and vulnerably. This clip was truly enlightening, and prayerfully, it will be helpful to many. Therapy is a huge help to our mental well-being. There has been a lot of bruises laid upon Black people that often go unhealed and untreated. Those bruises cause pain to not only the person with the bruise, but to everyone around them. The beautiful part about the Black community is there are people in the community, like myself, that will notice those bruises and do their very best to treat them. Healing one heart helps heal a community. Let's keep pouring love into our community. Love, heal, grow, support, transform, and more. Now, don't forget Friday, July 17th, 8 p.m. You need to tune in to Tyrone and Virginia's full Black Love Story. This show and all shows are sponsored by Puppy Obsessions, where your new best friend begins. Standard poodles, miniature poodles, Yorker poodles, and giant poodles. We also have kittens. Get yourself a fur baby. Thanks for watching. I am your host, Bianca, and this is Black Love Baltimore.